Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean.
Senior Report is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment.
From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
Hey, good morning. What a beautiful day out there in Chautauqua County. It's actually above freezing. Who can believe it? Oh, look at that hair. Got to get that chopped back, guys. Have my ears lowered here. It's coming up twice a year, whether I need it or not. We have a great guest with us, Walt Sedlmayer, Sedlmayer is going to tell us a little bit about the Genealogical Society here in Chautauqua County and tracking your ancestors and some of the tricks of the trade. So we'll have a lot of fun, and you can call in anytime you want. This is your magic carpet into the ether, into the great universe, and you can announce your birthdays, your family's anniversaries. You can announce the wonderful things you've done. You can tell us about your business, anything you want. This is your time, your place. Again, the number is 753-JACK, like jack your phone in. 5225 if you don't know what Jack is. Lots of things happening in the world. I look around me and I see that huge landslide that came down, killed over 100 people. I think it's horrible. I mean, there's 90 people missing, and they picked up 20 some odd bodies, I guess they have located, and it's just a horror story. And God help us. Not to mention the missing plane. That's all you see on TV. Even today, there's a plane missing, and the Malaysian plane, we know nothing about it. But they spend 24/7 on CNN telling us they know nothing about it. They have no idea why it went down, where it went down. They've got an area they're checking, which is the size of a couple of states, Texas or something. It's been going on for weeks now. Hello, CNN, don't you have any other news at all? That's it. It's wonderful to see a journalist come on TV and announce that they don't know anything about it for an hour and a half, and then a few ads come on, and then again it goes on 24/7. Madness. And of course, Putin is rattling the saber again. He's at this point along the Ukraine border with and it depends on who you talk to, but it's between probably 40,000 and 1 million soldiers with guns and tanks and arms and everything. And after having just invaded Crimea, which is part of the Ukraine, and annexed it essentially, as they say, they just stole it. It's not part of Russia. Can you imagine this in this day and age where another country is marching in with their army and taking over and declaring it part of their country? It's unheard of. And of course, nobody's going to do anything about it. The poor Ukrainians, they're getting the citizens out, putting uniforms. They have to buy themselves on them and saying, hey, now we're an army. And they're digging trenches and putting up barbed wire. This is great when you have giant war machines coming down on you. And they don't expect anybody to help them. The rest of the world is just going to stand idly by and watch the Russians take over the entire country, apparently. We'll have to see what happens. Putin says, well, we don't intend to take over, to enter the Ukraine, and well, we already have, of course, taken off a big chunk of it with Crimea, but I don't know if we can believe him anyway. The Russians are pretty sneaky. All right. At least up here in the Chautauqua County, we're getting a touch of spring. It looks like there's hope out there. It's been above freezing lately. And I've been running through wood like there's no tomorrow. I have a wood burner, and it's really pretty nippy everywhere. It's going to get better though. I want to. I don't know. Enough said. They say, Reed, you're talking too much. The news is over. Okay, I got some stuff here I want to bring to your attention. One is, again, the Smart 911. Call the sheriff's office, get information. You can probably give it to them there, or you can go to, let's see, let me put the cheaters on here. Go to www.smart911.com and enter your relatives, people they can call in an emergency, your next door neighbor, your doctor, your medications, the rooms where there may be children or pets, the pets, all the information that they really should have immediately if they have to go to your house on an emergency. And you put this in, input it, and then if there's a 911 call to your house, automatically, boom, this comes up. So that they know all about you, what to do, where you'll be, the pets, your meds, everything as I mentioned. So do it. Call Smart 911 in the sheriff's office and get going with it. That's one great thing Joe's set up, and a lot of other communities have the same thing. Back when I was in Long Island years ago, I pioneered a similar thing where we used to put a red envelope on the refrigerator, and it had all this information in it. So when they ran into your house, they first go right to you. There'd be a sign in your little tiny red sign on your front door too. On the refrigerator is all your information. They go right for it. They know who your doctor is. They know what your medications are, what your ailments are, and where you might be, the whole house, everything. And the pets, very important. If there's a fire, you want your pets to get out. And that's one of the things you can do. And your children, I might add, if you have grandchildren or children living with you, it's very important. Okay. Let me say the seniors have a lot of great groups up here. And I want you to know that there's a senior resource event with Congressman Tom Reed. It's Monday, March 31st. That's this Monday coming up from 10:30 to 12:30 at the Christ First United Church in Lakeview Avenue, Jamestown. And you might want to get over there. If you want information on it, call 708-6369. 708-6369. And he's going to talk about veterans programs, Social Security, services that we have for the senior citizens on the federal level as well as the local level. And a lot of experts will be there. You can ask those questions you've always wanted to know. So get on to that one again. It's Monday coming up, March 31st in Jamestown. Tom Reed. All right, now we have, I don't know, a few items here I wanted to mention. There's a wonderful group in Chautauqua County called the Sinclairville 76ers. You know, they deliver meals on wheels. They do it themselves. They prepare them over at the firehouse, and they have a whole bunch of guys working on them, and then they deliver them. They have a couple of vans that run around and take care of the local area, and it's just fantastic. And they're warm. They come in nice and hot because they've got hot boxes, and they plug right into the van, and it keeps them warm. Electricity, you know. So you might want to check out with us. They need volunteers. They need a new van. Those vans have an awful lot of mileage on them, and they're a little old. So if you have a van or you want to make a donation of cash or whatever, call the 76ers, Sinclairville 76ers. I'll give you a number. It's 962-3455. They need help packing the meals too. And it's a big job putting all this together. I thank God for the Sinclairville Fire Department. They let them use their facilities in their kitchen, and they help out. So this is a great group of senior citizens that are helping everybody in the area. And remember, a number of the people who can't get out are not necessarily seniors. They just take care of everybody and deliver meals right around. And they also have backup meals, you know. They'll give them some cold meals, which are usable if they can't get to you, like if there's a blizzard like we've had recently, or for one reason or another. And it's a great opportunity for the senior who may be homebound to have somebody come by every day and check them out whenever they do. They deliver Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. But it's nice to have somebody knock on the door. Hello, Mrs. Anderson, how are you doing? How's everything? Here's your meal. Enjoy it. Bon appetit. And away they go. Because if they don't, Mrs. Jones doesn't answer the phone, we got a little problem, and doesn't answer the door. So they can pick up on somebody that may be in critical need. Wonderful 76ers over there. I have a note from the Brockton, Portland crowd. They're going to go to the Amish in Clymer. You know, a lot of Amish up in the hills around here. And they're going to check them out and have some fun, see what the how the Amish live. And I don't know, they'll have an opportunity to have an Amish dinner, and they can really just enjoy life. You know, it's just so many wonderful things up here. Nothing like a great Amish banquet. And it costs virtually nothing. It's peanuts, you know. All right, so enough said. I did want to mention the Dunkirk Senior Citizens Board of Directors. They're very, very busy, and they have a lot of great things happening. They're going to a wonderful Batavia Downs casino, and they give you $25 in chips. But it only costs $25. And on top of the $25, you get a $5 chip for your lunch. How can you make a profit taking the bus over there? Don't try to make a profit at the gaming tables. Use your $25. If you win, run. If you lose, run. Otherwise, you won't have a shirt, and you'll be very cold on your way home. They're going to Allegheny Casino in Salamanca May 7th. You might want to check that out. And they're having April 21st, there'll be a Dingus Day, ice cream social and music. Dingus Day, what is that? Walt tells me it has something to do with it's a Polish celebration, follows Easter or something, whatever. It's if anybody knows any great detail, give us a call at 973-JACK. Enough said. They tell me if you keep on wandering around here and blathering, there'll be no time for the program. And we've got John Hamels coming on, and as you know, John shoots from the hip. And let's get that hair back there. There we go. Good morning, John Hamels. How you doing? We like to call him Doc because he's got a doctor of some kind from some silly college. You're on.
Slow down.
Speed up.
You see that? My lips never even moved, and I was talking. Well, what's that all about? Good morning, everybody, and morning, Walt, and welcome to the show. Reed, you're in good form this morning. Dingus Day. That's an old fertility rite, last I heard.
Fertility rite?
Fertility rite, yeah.
What do you mean, you get laid or something? What's going on here?
Those aren't my words. I just know growing up in Buffalo, there was a large Polish population. I just know that they told me it had roots in... Well, Easter's the same way. Easter's no different. It's an old fertility rite that they changed over the years into a religious holiday. Rabbits, chicken, eggs, all that good stuff.
Well, you
Spring.
know, there should, I say, anything having to do with fertility and sexuality, I mean, it should be a religious holiday, I'll tell you right now. You know?
Okay. Well, moving right along here.
Sorry, all you good Christians.
Okay, April 19th, I wanted to bring up a poster. Our friends over at the Children's Safety Village are going to have a great Easter carnival, and it's going to be April 19th. It's $2 to get in, and the kids are going to be able to collect candy, and they play games, and there's prizes, there's baskets that you can take chances on. If grandparents want something to do that day, it's from 10 to 1 over on Route 394. It's a safe environment. The kids can just have a great time. I think it's like maybe the fourth year I've helped out over the years. It's just a great time. There's a parade at noon and so forth. So anyways, check it out. And if you have any questions, call them over at the Safety Village.
Safety Village, it teaches them to look both ways before crossing. And when you're on the street, you walk single file, Indian style.
There you go. Yeah. But it's a great program, and they do a lot of different things there. But the Easter Festival's coming up, so that'll be really a lot of fun. Well, there was a little bit more news that came in while you were broadcasting, Reed, and I is it all right if I share that?
Well, I hope so.
All right. This just came in. Chautauqua County DA Dave Foley, friend of ours here.
Yes, indeed.
Has extradited Punxsutawney Phil on charges of perjury, telling falsehoods, and for lousy weather forecasting. Okay. Sheriff DeRossi sent officers pulled the hairy fellow from his underground abode. He went unwillingly yelling, "Anyone can make a mistake." All right. There's bad news, though. No attorney would take his case. But the good news is the judge assigned him a public defender. The even better news is his public defender is Dunkirk Dave.
Dave Willie, he once told me there's a way you can catch woodchucks with your hands very easily, but he wouldn't tell me how.
Okay, so anyways, geez, it's like we have spring one day, winter the next. I can't make up my mind. All right. As you know, every once in a while, I do induct somebody into my wall of shame.
The wall of shame.
Wall of shame. Doc's wall of shame.
I want to tell the public this exists. He's got a wall of shame.
It's right here. It's in my office area. We all have little cubbies here at the studio.
And new names go up all the time.
And so as you know, I've been I don't know what to call it, beat up by the Republicans because they think I'm an anti-Republican, but it's not true. Anthony Weiner's on there and a few others. Okay, but. I got under a lot of pressure from the guys here at the studio. They thought I should go bigger, internationally.
Okay.
Okay. So I couldn't find anybody in the United States that I wanted to induct this time around. So I went internationally. So here's just a little introduction. You know, we have elected officials, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we agree with them, sometimes we don't. But I think at the end of the day, generally, we try to respect their office and them as people. And as a rule, they conduct themselves in a professional manner and so forth. So at this point in time, I've been watching this particular individual for some time now, and it is with great disgust that I induct to Doc's Wall of Fame, the one and only, any guesses?
Putin.
Who? Putin? Ooh, I hadn't thought of him. Maybe next time. The one and only Bob Ford.
Bob Ford.
Mayor of Toronto.
Oh.
You know, I thought, well, maybe it was just a big faux pas on his part a few months ago when he was caught with cocaine and, hanging out with the underground there. But and then
ladies of the night.
That too. And then I saw him running around the assembly room there, charging around like a bull rhino, and he knocked some woman down. I guess she was like some elected official and acting like a fool. And then yesterday it was just nothing has changed. So, anyways, shame on you, Bob Ford. If you're an elected official, conduct yourself in a manner that's dignified, and come to Chautauqua County and see our officials, how they behave and how they handle themselves. Andy Goodell, Kathy Young, Sam Teresi, Vince Horrigan, all of our past executives for the county. Good people. As I say, we may not always agree with them, but at the end of the day, we do respect each other.
Yeah, they don't run over little old ladies anyway and snort cocaine.
I can't believe this guy is even running again for
He's running again.
He's running again. Toronto, wake up. Smell the roses, not the cocaine. Back to you, Reed.
Okay. Bob Ford. What a guy. How are you going to vote for him now? We got with us Walt Sedlmayer. He doesn't believe he's ever going to get on, but he's wrong. We're going to put him on eventually. We're running right into the program, though, Walt. I can see that. But we only took 20 minutes from you. Walt, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Buffalo,
Uh-huh.
and folks moved to Mayville when I was about 5, and I went to school here, and after I graduated from high school, this very building, no less,
You were in this. This is the shop here where you're sitting, if you remember.
Oh, yes. Bob Schmidt, Ron Saley, and that goes back a long time. Then I went into on active duty in the Navy, and when I got done, I started school at Fredonia State and have never left Fredonia.
Okay. There's a million people watching you behind that red light, so you got to look at that camera.
Okay.
Don't look at me. They don't care about me. They see enough of me every week.
Okay.
Walt, are you married? Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm married. My lovely wife, Lisa.
You know, no one has ever said my ugly wife.
Well, if they're smart, they won't, because there'll be a rotten reception when they get home if the wife sees what they have to say online.
Well, fortunately, you haven't got a TV, right?
We have a TV, but unfortunately, we don't have the cable, so we don't pick up.
You don't get this. That's too bad. Yeah, that's a mess.
We'll have to see what we can do about that.
Do you have a bunch of kids?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters. One's married and lives in Dunkirk, and got a 2.5-year-old granddaughter. She's
Where's the other one live?
She lives with us.
Okay, you know, that's great, because when you have your family living near you, it means that you're okay. when the kids are scattered all over the world, you know, you got a problem. What are you up to there, John?
Walt moved his mic and pinch his sweater down here.
Okay, move your mic a little bit there. Let me pinch it for you. I can.
Down below is like.
They tell me that you're not quite getting through perfectly.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, now let's see if I can clamp it on your sweater here.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you.
And keep that. That's good. That should be good.
Okay, sorry about
How we doing there, guys? That good? Okay. So you were telling us about your other daughter. What'd she do?
She
Lives with you.
She lives the Observer in the morning, and that's about it.
What'd she do with the Observer?
She delivers the
Delivers
paper
it. Oh, great.
in the
Terrific.
morning.
So that's a thankless job. I tell
Yeah.
you. I used to deliver the Buffalo Evening News, and I can remember being a paper boy. So, do you have a dog?
No, we have 3 cats.
3 cats.
3 cats.
Can I give you a tip on those cats?
Yeah, go ahead.
You, first of all, you're supposed to give them their shots every year. You know,
We take care of that.
costs a big buck. You can buy the shots online for a lot for peanuts, and they mail them to you with a hypodermic, and you just give them a shot in the comfort of your couch. Stick it in the nape. It doesn't even have to go into the muscles. And I do all mine that way.
That's good.
I used to have 5. And another trick is that flea stuff. It costs $40 a year for an amount. What you do is you buy it online, but you don't buy the cat quantity. The dog quantity, they tell me, and this is probably true, I've used it for 20 years, is the same active ingredient, nothing else. So the dog does come in 55-pound dog sizes for $40. That's a year's supply. Well, if you have 55-pound dog sizes. They're great big vials, and they last forever. You can probably and they're good for 8 years. They tell me. So there's a thought. Get the 55-pound dog flea preventative, and what you have to do is have a shot glass and a hypodermic without a needle, of course. You break the needle off, suck up about 1 cc of it, and give it to your cat. That's what they take. And 5 cats, you save a bunch, you know, or you only have 3. So there's a thought anyway. Cat lovers, that's for you. Go on. You have 3 cats. What are their names?
Tiger, Elby, and Turla.
Okay, everybody has a tiger. Although we named ours Tiger because Tiger was the tiger on Wind in the Willows or something like that. One of those great stories, and. Unfortunately, 3 of them have passed on to history. But our cats live for quite a long while. I got 2 of them left. One is 16 years of age, and the older one is almost 20 years of age. And they're happy cats. They get along fine.
That's good.
Cats are great. You know, they come just like a dog after a while. You gotta call them right. You call them with a repetitive name like bop bop or toot toot, something like that. They can recognize. Walt Sedlmayer, not sure what's going on here. What were we supposed to talk about?
The genealogy.
Genealogy, and
seminar
you're
is coming
the
up.
president or something, you're some officer, aren't you?
I'm the vice president of the
president.
society and
Of the Chautauqua County Genealogical
Society. We're having a seminar April 26th at the
Saturday, that's a Saturday. right?
Saturday, yes.
Well, they won't be able to watch the show live, but it goes on all week long anyway. It's repeated regularly everywhere.
Well, we'll see what we can do to.
Well, you can still call in, you know. People say, well, I'll be involved in something. No, you just you just pull out your cell phone and make a quick call. There's nothing to it. 753-JACK, and you can call in.
And we have
Seminar April 26th, Saturday, 9:30 to 4 p.m. That's a long time at the Clarion Hotel, right, in Dunkirk.
Yes.
All right.
We have Rhonda Koenig, who's the director of the genealogy department up at the Buffalo and Erie County Public Libraries, going to be giving talks on using heritage quests and ancestry to trace your families. And then Norm Carlson from the Fenton Historical Society is going to give a talk on other free online services that are available.
Okay. You have to be, once you get into genealogy, something of a detective, they tell me. You have to follow up leads, and you have to move on. Like, for instance, if I wanted to know who my great-great-grandfather was, what would I do? Ask my mother, I know.
Yeah, or check records that they're on home, old letters, diaries, family Bibles, so forth, and then you could always go check public records like wills and probates and birth certificates and marriage and death certificates and so forth.
You got to hunt all this stuff up, huh?
Yes.
I do remember we have a family Bible, and it has the birthday and death day of everybody way back. I mean, this is an old Bible. It's probably 150, 200 years old almost. And it goes way back to our family and who was born, the dates, the deaths, and so forth. And it's very interesting to have one of these things. Very few people do. They don't keep them for some reason. They just throw it all, everybody throws everything away all the time.
I know, which is unfortunate. We also have a number of exhibits that are going to be at the seminar, various books for sale, and people that have tables to help interested people trace their ancestry and how to do it and so forth.
Okay. Are you looking at the red light on top of that camera?
Yeah.
It's just tough to get used to that. Have you been on TV a lot?
No.
Okay, I can see that.
Sorry about that.
Now, see, they just switched lights on you.
Yeah, so they did. And the cost is $25 per person.
For the seminar. That includes lunch, though, right?
Yes, it includes a lunch.
What do you have for lunch? Filet mignon and lobster tail, right?
I'm not sure if it's that.
Not surf and turf?
No, but I put on I know the Clarion puts on a very good meal. I've had a couple meals that different organizations have had there.
Well, people got to sign up. I see it's limited to 100 people, huh?
Right.
All right, you squeeze 100 people and that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's about it.
What if they were skinny and small, though? You could probably have 120.
Well, we'd have to see. But knowing some of the people that have signed up, it's going to be a little difficult to cram that 120 people into the meeting rooms.
Yeah. Well, the Clarion is a good place. I
Yes,
know
it
that.
is.
That's free, guys. It's not a sponsored comment.
If anybody's interested.
What was the question? I had a caller who had a question. What was that question? How much? The seminar is $25, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that if they want to register.
That includes lunch again.
Yes. If they want to register, they can contact me at 679-7936. It's my home phone.
Repeat it again.
679-7936.
Then check with you. Now, you've been into genealogy. How long have you been doing this?
About 45 years.
45 years. What's the best hit you've had. Do you know your family way back?
Well, I've traced certain lines. Last several years I've been tracing more or less the granddaughter's ancestry, and I've come up with some very interesting people.
Any horse thieves or anything?
I think there were a few that may have been hung as thieves.
Come on over here, Walt, so they can get us closer together.
Or should have been hung as horse thieves. But then again, too, there are some very famous people. There was one ancestor, well, not ancestor, cousin of the granddaughters that I found out about a couple of years ago, and I'm still in shock on this one, Abraham Lincoln.
What about him?
He's distant cousin of the my granddaughter.
No kidding.
Yeah, his fourth great grandfather is a direct ancestor of my son-in-law and the granddaughter.
How about that? We got a call. You want to take a call?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, I was wondering, is there regular meetings that the Genealogical Society has, and is there like a fee to join this society, or is it free or open to the public?
It is open to the public. The annual dues are $20 a person, $25 for a couple, and we meet on the third Tuesday of each month at the meeting room at the Barker Library in Fredonia.
There you go, Barker Library.
And is this a good place then if you wanted to start tracing your ancestry to
yes,
come?
They have Barker Library is one of the outstanding genealogical libraries in the county. I go down there about twice a week. The museum is open on Tuesday from 4 to 8, and then Saturdays from 1 to 5. And I'm generally there doing some of my own research or helping people trace their ancestry.
So you give a hand to somebody who needs a little help?
Oh yes, definitely.
Point them the right direction. There you go, caller. Does that help?
And one last question.
Sure.
Online or on the TV, you usually see advertisements or stuff, and I was wondering if you had any ideas about some of the online stuff, or maybe some things to say regarding possible scams and stuff like that.
You mean like Ancestry?
Or there's other ones out there. It's not just that, but yes, something like that.
One of the problems that I have found, and I've run into this a couple times, is that people submit information to like Ancestry and Heritage Quest and so forth, and they don't give references, and which is one problem. And if you want to check to verify this, you can't do it. And I have had occasion where I have found that stuff that's been submitted is not correct, and kind of puts a problem trying to verify that what they have put in is accurate.
But you can find out a lot about your ancestors.
Oh yes.
If you know what you're doing, right?
Yes, but like you're saying, you have to take some of this with a grain of salt, because sometimes the person that submitted it, the information is not correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, I must sympathize big time. We came over here very early, not doing that great, from Ireland, from Dublin, and it wasn't the great sorrow when they had the famine, and it was a 1638 they came over, and it wasn't exactly the Mayflowers we were talking, but they had the family's been in this area for quite a while. We helped settle Panama.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Panama's a beautiful community. All right, now, so if I wanted to find out about my great-great-great-great-grandfather, something you should say, I have to start checking certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates. Well, where do you get all this stuff?
Well, a lot of the stuff is at the courthouse or the town halls and so forth. But New York State did not require civil registration like death certificates, marriages, and so forth till about 1880. Mm-hmm. And then it took a while for all the town clerks and so forth to go along with this law, so probably anything after 1885 would be recorded.
Not before, though.
No, sometimes before. Right now I'm working on some records for the town of Pontford marriages that go back to the 1870s that have been recorded. So that is a help, but then of course you have the newspapers. Quite often they'll have articles about marriages, deaths, and so forth. And the County Genealogy Society has gone through the Dunkirk Observer, the Fredonia Censor, and they have books with all the information on births, deaths, marriages, and other pertinent information that are available at the, they're all over. I know Patterson Library in Westfield has, Barker of course has everything.
Patterson upstairs has the whole upstairs is dedicated to genealogical information.
Yes, I go up over there quite often and check stuff because you have different books in different libraries.
Yeah, the libraries are unique in Westfield that the upstairs has a glass floor. And in the winter, you used to go up there, now it's carpeted, but to stop this, but in the winter we'd go up and we'd slide our feet along it, and you'd build up a charge. And then you'd go up to somebody, and you could get about a 3-inch lightning bolt into their ear. Caller, you're on. We got a caller.
Yes.
Good morning, Reed. Good morning, Walt.
Good morning.
I have a couple questions. My first one's the one that's really, I'm wondering, I have a relative, lives in Sweden. His father was born in Jamestown in, I think, 1907, and a couple years later, part of the family went back to Sweden, and he knows who his grandmother is, but he does not know who his grandfather is. Is there a way of finding a record in Jamestown, trying to find out who? He doesn't even think they were married. Just trying to find out, who is. He'd really love to find out who his father is. He's probably almost 80 now, and he's been searching since the early 1980s, and we found stuff like at the Fenton, a picture of his grandmother in a Salvation Army suit, but we just can't really get a lot of information on his grandfather.
Have you checked the census records, the federal census records?
There's a way.
I haven't. I'm not sure if he has. How would you go about doing that?
I know the courthouse has the New York State Census, which ran from 1825 to 1925. Reed Library has microfilm of all the...
That's at Fredonia, right?
Right, at Fredonia. Has Fredonia State College has the microfilm for the censuses that are available for Chautauqua County from up through 1940. The last federal census was released a couple of years ago.
Would there be a way of finding out like a birth certificate that far back in time? Did they have birth certificates like in Jamestown for when his father would have been born that might have showed who the father was?
Quite possibly, depending on what year the individual was born. Like I said, New York State didn't require birth certificates until about 1880. So
this would have been 1907 that he was born.
Well, there should be some birth certificate probably down at Jamestown City Hall.
And how do you go about usually getting a birth certificate?
Well, you go up and to the city clerk and ask for a copy of the birth certificate, but you have to be a relative, a descendant, direct descendant, to get the copy of the birth certificate. It's one of the stipulations. And
how do you prove that? You say he's my great-great-great-grandfather.
Well, you
how are they going to prove it?
You got to have some proof that you are related, and then there probably is a fee for it, but I mean, each municipality has their own set fee for these certificates.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, the second thing is, our cemetery is a good place to get information, because I'm friends with Sam Jenko in Lakeview Cemetery in Jamestown, and they have death certificates going back to the early, I think, 1900s. Sam was actually able to find a picture of one of the family members that was in the cemetery before it was a total cemetery. He was a farmer, and are most cemeteries good at finding information, or is just Lakeview one of the better ones, luckier ones?
A lot of cemeteries have this information. Like the Genealogy Society has gone through several cemeteries in the county and read all the stones and the information that's available, and sometimes have been able to check the records for the cemetery, and they publish these in books that are at like different libraries, and like I said, the Barker Museum has every book that the society has put out.
And you might call, or you might check the Erie, strangely as strange as it sounds, the Erie Library has a huge genealogical section.
That's
very
right.
Complete.
That's right.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. And I guess last call I'll hang up right now is, how many different, like, historical societies and genealogical societies, I can't pronounce it, are there in Chautauqua County? I'm going to hang up and let you talk, and I'll be watching.
Well, there's the County Historical Society, which is based out of the McClurg Mansion in Westfield. And then, of course, the Chautauqua County Genealogy Society, and there are
the other ones,
other ones in the county, more or less municipal groups.
We got a couple of calls. You want to take another one?
Sure.
Hey, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, good morning, Walt, and good morning, Reed. It's good to see you on the show, Walt. And genealogy is such a fascinating study. My husband was very enthusiastic about it, and I joined him on many family research excursions. It's quite fascinating.
Do you know who this is?
Voice sounds familiar, but
it's Linda Spalding. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself.
Okay.
And her husband was quite a guy too. He passed away recently, but he announced to me one time, "We're related to the Bushes," and I cringed.
So was Barack Obama.
That's true. Yeah, he is.
Reed, don't feel bad. So am I. Both Bushes, FDR. John Adams, John Quincy Adams, and I think there's a few, maybe Gerald Ford. I got to work on that too. But
I don't think I recall you mentioning the Mormon Library in Jamestown, where they have an extensive collection of family histories. Have you ever gone there?
Yes, I have. There used to be, I think it's still there. There's one in Fredonia too on. Yeah, it's been years since I've been there because the person that was in charge of the genealogy room left. But the Mormons are very good. That is part of their religion, is tracing the families. Then, of course, they do have an online source that you can check. It's called FamilySearch.org. You can go on there and get information. And then, of course, the real gem is the Mormon Library in Salt Lake City. They have everything.
I imagine they do. And the Case Western Reserve has a lot of information.
Oh, Case Western is great. The wife and I try to get down there at least once every year, and they have a tremendous amount of material also.
I can see that Doug, your husband, must have given you a lot of good information himself, huh?
Oh, I used to travel with him all the time. It was fascinating, very time-consuming. And we would go to cemeteries, and you can learn so much about history, not only your family history, but about this country and other cultures when you're doing the research and records, like on the tombstones. At the time of the Revolutionary War, they wrote very lengthy emotional, tender remarks on the stones about about the loved one.
And they even put the day of death on them back in the old days.
Yes.
Not just the year.
And what I found was interesting too is that, like a spouse would be killed in the war or would die, and then the wife would die like maybe 10 years later on the same date. I mean, it was quite fascinating to see all of that.
And there'd be another wife too. Very frequently, when somebody died earlier, they'd remarry. And it's fascinating to walk around in cemeteries and read the old gravestones.
Yes, and we read the marriage records in Connecticut because Ducky had family that moved up there for a while. And in those old records that you could get, it also showed how people were taxed. People were taxed not just for their overall property, but for their furnishings and if they had a musical instrument. And it was quite interesting.
That's in Pennsylvania today. They still tax you on your stuff.
Do they?
Yeah.
And now people are crying the blues in New York State about our taxes.
Well, they don't have some of the taxes we have. That's the difference. If you ain't got no stuff, you don't pay nothing.
Well, it's very, very interesting, Walt, and I hope I get to meet you in the future. I'm thinking about coming to your event that you're talking about at the Clarion.
Well, we'd be glad to have you.
Again, the Clarion, that's April 20th, Saturday.
Yes.
9:30 to 4. And,
the 26th.
26th. And 9:30 to 4 p.m. And it sounds like it'd be a long time, but there's lunch.
Yes, there's lunch, and like I said, there's going to be different tables with exhibits and so forth, and people that are willing to help anybody that's trying to do their research.
You better sign up quick, though. How many, you only allowed 100. How many you got now?
56 definite, and I've gotten calls in the last couple of days. There more people that are thinking about coming, and hopefully anybody that's watching this show will get in touch with me so that we can fill the 100 spots up.
There you go. We only have 3 viewers. Linda's one of them.
I hope they all come.
Well, I'll encourage anybody that's interested in their family history to come. I'd like to mention also that I work for the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging, and there are many senior services, and I direct an employment program, and also we have a free computer training, introductory, which is individualized. People move at their own pace, and the training right now is occurring at the Patterson Library in Westfield, the Dunkirk Free Library, and the Jamestown Office for the Aging.
I want to make an aside comment. Marianne Spanos, who's incidentally my favorite Greek guest, the only one we've ever had, she's going to be on next week. And if you have any questions about the Office for the Aging, you can call her.
And our number is, in Mayville, 753-4471.
Okay, 753-4471, Office of the Aging. And,
all right, and it's been a pleasure listening to you, Walt, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you, and so do I.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too, Linda. Thank you for your call. It's just heartening to know how many people are really interested in genealogy. I do remember Doug was very into it. I mean, he spent a lot of time just digging out old friends and family and everything that no one would normally know about.
Yeah, well, one of the things, genealogy has always been pursued by a lot of people, but there's one TV series that was on years ago that really got things going, and that was Roots. The Alex Haley...
yeah, that's where they kept beating the slaves up, I know that.
That's right, but after that series was on, it really generated a lot of information for doing your research. In fact, there's an aside. The kid that I went to school with lived across the street from me. After he graduated, he went to, joined in the Peace Corps and was sent to Gambia. He met Haley when Haley was over in Gambia doing research for his book, Roots. And I always thought that was quite interesting because my friend was there at the beginning.
Okay. Has the internet created on internet? What's that mean?
Has the internet created more interest in it? You can find more.
Has the internet created more interest?
Yes, because it's made the resources readily available. Instead of having to go clean across the country, you can check the internet and get the information you're looking for, provided it is online.
Some of them charge money for that, though.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Ancestry does, and there's other...
Ancestry.com?
Yeah.
That's where you can find a lot of information.
That's right, but like I said, you have to be careful because some of the information that's on there is not correct, but it is a good place to start to do your research.
Well, how about joining one of your groups, too? I mean,
oh, yes.
A genealogical society would be a hell of an opportunity for somebody who's interested in genealogy.
That's right.
Who's not very well known, you know?
Yeah, well, we're always willing to take new members, and like I said, the annual fee is $20 a person and $25 for a couple.
That's a pretty good deal for your wife or husband, huh?
Yes, yes.
Walt Sedlmayer telling us a little bit about genealogy, or about the Genealogical Society, the Chautauqua County Genealogical Society, where he's an officer, and you've been there for a long time, haven't you? How long have you belonged to that group?
I was the first president. The wife and I are charter members. There's still, I believe, 5 charter members still alive.
When did you start?
Summer of '77.
Wow.
The Mormons gave a workshop at the Dunkirk Public Library, and the final meeting for the workshops, because they ran for about 5-6 weeks, best I can remember, we decided to continue the activity and form the society.
It's the second time the Mormons have come up. Why are they so important?
Well, tracing your ancestry is part of their religion.
Oh, I see. So they keep good records.
Yes, they do. Like I said, the Mormon Library in Salt Lake City is one of the big repositories worldwide.
So if you want to dig in deep, you go up to Utah.
Well, true, you go to Utah, or they do have a website too called FamilySearch.org that you can go on and get information, because a lot of the stuff that's at Salt Lake is online.
It's a big operation, apparently.
Yes, and you can also order microfilms and so forth from them through the Mormon library, you know, like the one in Jamestown or the one in Fredonia.
They have a big choir there.
Yes, they do at Salt Lake. It's very good.
The Mormon Tabernacle
Choir.
We used to sing often at Christmas, and we were the Mormon Tubercular Choir. Phone calls. We got to take another. I love it. Okay. Thank you for calling. You're on.
Hi. If I go online or whatever, or do one of these studies, how far can I reasonably expect to go back? 1500s, 14s, 13s. How far may I be able to go back?
Well, I've traced some of the relatives back to the mid 1400s in Europe. It just depends on how available the records are that you could check.
I suppose how famous you were too, or how.
Well, that would help, especially if you connected into royalty, because all that stuff is recorded. But unfortunately, most of the people were the peasants, and
not much on the peasants, huh?
No, not back to maybe 1400. But one of the big problems was that during World War II, a lot of the records were bombed out of existence during the...
What a shame, huh?
Yes. Well, there was a story I heard years ago.
Are you with us still, caller? Okay, he hung up. All right.
Hitler...
Oh, he's still there. All right.
Hitler had all the records in the Central Depository in Berlin microfilmed. The fellow who was doing it finished up and took all the microfilms out. The next day, the place was bombed, and all those records were lost. But fortunately, excuse me, everything is on microfilm.
There you go. It's like, Hitler ordered them to level Paris, too. But the general wouldn't do it.
Fortunately not.
They wouldn't do it. They just said no.
Nope. Does that answer your question, caller?
It did.
No, I guess so.
You just said it did.
No.
Okay, well, thank you very much, caller. Incidentally, if you send us a large box with a stamped self-address on it, we'll send you a genealogy. Family trees. What are they? You always hear about the family tree.
Well, it's
and
just
chip off the old family tree block.
It's just a term used for your ancestry.
Oh.
Because you start with yourself, you go back, with your 2 parents, 4 grandparents, and keep going. It's just like a massive tree.
It gets bigger and bigger, of course.
Bigger and bigger as you go back, because every generation that you go back, the number of your direct ancestors doubles.
So by the time you've gone back a few generations, you got thousands, right? Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. And there you go. We're with Walt Sedlmayer. He's an officer and longtime founder of the Family History Society called the Chautauqua County Genealogical Society. Now, if they wanted to get in touch with you about anything, Walt, and a lead or maybe a little training or whatever, you'd give it to them for free, right?
Yes, I would.
And what's your number again?
It's 679-7936.
679-7936 if you need further information. Well, Walt, it looks like we're kind of running down on time here, and I'd like to just have one more question of you. Okay. If I wasn't sure of the information, you say some of it's false.
Well, some of it that you see online is false. Now, like I had a case here a few weeks ago. This one ancestor, I found a listing of her ancestors in a series of books. Mm-hmm. Well, I was told about this other website that's quite extensive and it's quite reliable, and they came up with another set of ancestors for the ancestor of mine.
So you had more than one there, huh?
That's right, and
oops, I just got this message. We're out of here. They're throwing us off. Our time's up.
Okay.
I want to give you 30 seconds uninterrupted time just to close off and say whatever you want.
Okay, well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, Reed, and I hope anybody that's interested will sign up for the seminar. It's April 23rd at the Clarion. They can get a hold.
26th?
26th, I'm sorry.
We're both doing it.
Huh?
We're both doing it.
Yeah. And if they are interested in signing up for it, they can contact me at the number that I gave you before.
Give it again.
679-7936.
There you go.
And it's $25 per person.
Including lunch.
Including lunch.
Okay. Thank you, Walt,
You're
for
welcome.
joining us
Thank
today.
You.
Will you come back soon?
Quite possibly.
We can talk more about this stuff. It wasn't that hard, was it?
No, not really. Hardest part was keeping my eyes on the red light up there.
Tally lights. All right, Chuck Kelsey, thank you for setting this up. He established Channel 5 over here. Devin Taylor helped his right-hand man, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramiger, and Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, I'm tongue-twisted today, and John Hamels, Doc Hamels. Get out there. Find out who your ancestors were. Have a little fun. Get in touch with Walt. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I am Reed Powers.